Hey everybody, this is Joel again. I want to talk about this really cool product that I've found. It's called an eDrummin module. And what it does is it converts analog triggers to a MIDI note. And what I use this for live is to trigger like a snap or a clap or any sort of sample that you want to do. You can do sub drops, you can do anything you want as long as you have the WAV file for it. Through Ableton, and I use this one pad throughout the entire show. I got really tired of trying to carry around an SPDSX, which has 9 samples, and it's another bag to check on a flight, and it's another case to carry on a road gig, when really I just need 1 or 2 samples per song, and I don't need all of the flexibility that the SPDSX has. And I just got tired of carrying it around. So this eDrummin 4 module, they make a couple of different sizes. I just did the 4, but I think they make like an 8, a 10, and a 12 as well. So it's got 4 stereo 1/4-inch inputs on the back, so you can use dual zone triggers or mono triggers, and that converts it to a MIDI note. And I'm going to show you how to automate changes for those samples inside your live show. So open on my laptop right now, I have the eDrummin application that comes, it's free, comes with the module. And in here you can see I have the MIDI channel set to 15. And if this is where you're going to make all of your threshold changes, this is where you're going to make your holds, how hard you hit it, things like that. So you can see it's metering on my MacBook. I've got it just plugged in directly from the eDrummin into the computer right now, and you can see it's triggering. So for the sake of putting this into Ableton, if you have a Play Audio, you'll just plug this into the host port. You could plug it into your computer directly, but I like to keep things clean and just have one connection from my Play Audio into my MacBook. It just less USB dongles, and it's just a cleaner setup altogether. So I'm going to disconnect my computer from the eDrummin, and then I have this USB cable hooked up right here, and that is going to the Mio. But again, that can just go straight to the host port of the Play Audio if that's what you'd like. I did a Mio so that it just gives you more MIDI flexibility, but it's not required for what we're talking about today. So in Oracle, you're going to open up Oracle. It'll connect to your devices. I'm going to go to USB host reservation, and you'll see the device is already selected, audio front, eDrummin black, there it is right there. So it is connected into the Mio. If you did this into the Play Audio on the host port, you would see the same thing. So you see it connected there. So we're going to open up Ableton. And so in your settings, you'll have to enable the Play Audio. Right now I've got it going through the RTP port of the Mio, but if you have it plugged into the host port, you'll just select track and remote on input for the Play Audio host 1. Since I'm going through the RTP port of the Mio, it's actually the RTP 1. And you'll do the same thing for Play Audio 12 host 1, track and remote. Again, I'm going through the Mio, so it's RTP 1, track and remote. So once you have those enabled, over here in your inserts, if you do Play Audio RTP 1, which is what I have enabled, and then if we go to output Play Audio RTP 1, and then channel, we'll do channel 15, you should see it register there on the screen. When I hit it, you're seeing it trigger. So now that you have it set up, you can see that the BT1 trigger going into the eDrummin 4 module, which is then going into the tracks rig, and it's now triggering inside Ableton. So that's the first half of the battle, is setting up your channel, setting up your IAC driver, and making sure that you have all of the correct boxes checked to allow Ableton to see the eDrummin module. So in order to put some samples in and have them automate changes per song, we're going to create a You want to do an instrument rack, not a drum rack, because with the instrument racks, it can change to each individual drum rack, and that's how we're going to set it up. So all you do is click and drag it over into the MIDI channel that you've already created. So if you come over into session view, you should see channel 15. And then you're going to, inside the instrument rack, you're going to drop in some drum racks. And you'll see here, so now we've created a drum rack, and if you just duplicate it, and you'll see inside the drum rack that note that was previously set up in the eDrummin module, which was F#2. When I hit it here, it's triggering the F#2. So in order to get that to trigger a sound, come over into your samples. And we're going to do just this one right here. We're just going to drop that in. That's the first one. So when we hit it, and so we have a sound from this being triggered into Ableton. Okay, so after you have opened up your instrument rack, you're going to press this 3 bars thing in the instrument rack here, and it tells you to drop in instrument or samples. So we're just going to drop a drum rack in here, and then we're just going to Command-Shift-D or Command-D, and it'll duplicate it. We're going to do 3 different samples. So in the first drum rack here, if we scroll down over here, if we scroll down over here in the actual drum rack, you'll see when I hit the trigger, it's triggering the F#. It does that in all of the drum racks. So we're going to drop in some samples. So here's my samples. We'll open that guy up. So we're going to take this first snap sound, drop it in the second drum rack. We're going to do this a different sample, the snare sample, in the same note. And then in this drum rack, we're going to do the third one, which is a clap sample. Okay, so now we've got our 3 different ones. So you can see when I hit this, it's actually triggering all 3 of them at the same time down in the bars down there. So in order to change this per song, you're going to go into chain, and we're actually going to set the chain of these of different ones. So the first one we're going to set chain 1, the second one we're going to drag this over to chain 2, and the third one we're going to drag it over to chain 3. So these are 3 different drum racks within the instrument rack. So now we're going to automate the change in Ableton to say when it reaches this point, it's going to be chain 1. When it reaches this point, it's going to be chain 2, etc., etc. So you can do this within a song even if you want a different sample for a verse and a different sample for a chorus, or etc., etc. I typically do it per song because I don't have a super complex setup for that. Okay, so we have our 3 drum racks set up under different chain numbers. So you're going to come over here to your automation button, and you're going to change this to the first option to instrument rack, and you're going to change this to chain selector. So what we're going to do now is select the different chains for different racks for different parts in the Ableton session. So if we come over here and we automate this, and let's zoom in so I can see a little bit better, we're going to change this to 1. And then we'll create a new change here to drag it up to 2. And then this one here, we'll drag it up to 3. There we go. So we've got the first chain at 1. And if we hit this with inside the playhead, oh, let's do the playhead here. You'll see, oh, you have to arm it. You have your first sample. So we've got the first one, and then we make the change to the second one, which is the second one, and then here's the third one. So that's how you can use the same trigger to trigger different sounds within Ableton per song. So with the eDrummin module, your possibilities are pretty endless there. Because it's got 4 inputs, you could then put something like a kick trigger and a snare trigger in it as well. So if you wanted to trigger kick sounds, snare sounds, those would all just be different notes within the eDrummin software, and you would simply drop them into the drum rack. And every time that the chain is changed, it's changing drum racks for you, and that allows you to change samples per song. It's a pretty cool feature, something really nice to be able to fly with rather than traveling with an SPDSX or something along those lines, to where you don't have to carry something big and bulky if you just need a single sound per song.